Hiya. So I'm very briefly going to show you how I keep track of my collection, the molts they're eating, and also talk briefly about some funny questions that I get asked from owning tarantulas. And if you own tarantulas, you'll probably get the same sort of questions, and they're always funny. So to start with, I'll show you my collection. It's not a very big collection at the moment, but it is growing in size, and I've got multiple different things. I don't know if you can notice, but there are some stickers, some little like red dots or some blue ones, and that is these that I use. I simply write a number on these, and then I have what I call my spider book, and I'll get an example up. So if we go to number 10, Chromatopelma cyanopubescens, green bottle blue, and the number is 10. So I then simply go to pot 10, which, oh no, sorry, that's 11. That's not the one that I want. Where's 10? Is it that one? I have stickers. Number 10. And it is here. And that's really it, basically. That's how I keep track, rather than writing on each box and labelling which is which. I just put a little number, stick it on the box, because then I can just remove the sticker if it gets rehoused, put it somewhere else, and keep track. In this book, I've also got information like lifestyle, so arboreal, terrestrial, temper. So I put skittish, nervous, defensive, humidity, so how much humidity they need, 60%, 70% above. I've then got venom, so I've written down whether or not the venom is significant or not really. So for example, my Poecilotheria metallica, I have put nasty, so basically it means don't get bit by that. Whereas with my Brachypelma Emilia, I've put not significant, which means if I was to be bitten, it might sting a bit, but it's no worse than maybe a bee sting. And then I've got the sex, which, so whether it's male or female, a lot of mine are still slings, some of them are bigger and can be sexed. And then I've got molts, and I put the date for when it last molted and also eaten. So I've put in the date for when it last ate, so that I can keep track of their progress and how they're growing. And, you know, it's just a good way to keep track, especially if you've got a large collection. It's really easy if you've got one or two to remember which tea is which. But when you've got a large collection, especially slings or juvies that don't have their colours, they can all look really similar. So it's really difficult to know sometimes which one is which. Although I, surprisingly, as they've come, have been able to remember which one is which. But I think that's when you've got maybe 20 plus, and some people have got 80 to 100, they become quite difficult to keep track of. So moving on. So that's how I keep it. And obviously, as you can see with my collection, I've also got this box down here. This has got substrate and twigs, and I've got some food for them there. And in this drawer, I've got like multiple tools, hot glue gun, some mesh, just lots and lots of, you know, bits, and I've got some extra tubs for in case I get anything new. So that's basically how I keep them and what I keep them in and how I keep track of them. So I'm now going to briefly talk about some questions that I get asked very often. The first question is, does it bite? Yes, they can. The question should be not does it bite, but can it bite? Yes, the same as your dog, your cat, your mum, whatever it is that you live with. We've all got teeth, fangs, whatever it may be. Everything can bite. And then the following question, that question usually leads to a question of, well, aren't they poisonous? No, they are not poisonous because you would have to ingest it for it to be poisonous. They are venomous. Yes, that can be a bit frightening, but it's really simple. If you have a Postotheria metallica, or as we like to call them in the hobby, pokies, if you don't poke the pokey, you won't get bitten. You just have to be careful with them and be respectful, and it'll keep that's all you need to protect you of not being bitten. I'm not being funny, but if somebody said to you, this dog's got the potential to be aggressive and bite you, you wouldn't go and stick your hand out to touch it. So you don't do that with any tarantula or snake or anything else. And it's similar to if I'm rehousing, I always take precaution, whether it's a Brachypelma amelia or a Postotheria metallica. It doesn't matter whether the bite is significant or not. It's just a case of I don't want to be bitten by anything if I can completely avoid it, and that's what you want to be avoiding. Whether they're docile or not. Some species are more docile than others. Some are a bit more defensive than others. I don't like to use the word aggressive, although some of them can be a little aggressive. I've got 2 in my collection that, I won't lie, they're just plain mean. They don't like me very much, and they are constantly in defensive position when I attend to them, but that gives them character. I enjoy that, and it makes them enjoyable. I'm trying to think of what other questions I get asked. Oh, I get asked all the time that in some of my videos when I've been unboxing that I look frightened, or that I can be quite jumpy. Again, I refer back to it. I get the question of, well, if you're scared of them, why have them? The answer to that is I'm not scared of them. I am respectful of them. If I can avoid being bitten, then that's what I'll do. I'm not going to go and stick my hand out and catch something that's running away from me that's potentially got the ability to give me quite a nasty bite. The same as you would not go and try and grab hold of a dog that somebody has told you could be potentially aggressive. It's really simple. It's facts, isn't it? This is a really simple analogy. I'm not afraid of them. I'm incredibly respectful of what they are, what they can do, and that's the answer to that question. I am not afraid, but I'm not an idiot either, and if I can avoid being bitten, then that's absolutely what you, me, and everybody else should be doing. First and foremost is the health of these tarantulas. They are living beings, and you don't want to be just throwing them around and handling is each to their own. I personally don't handle mine. That's not to say that I wouldn't handle maybe my Brachypelma amelia, but there's precautions that you must take because they are incredibly delicate, and even a small drop from a small height could really, really damage your tarantula and rupture its abdomen. And that's another question I get asked. Well, spiders don't have feelings. We don't know for sure that spiders or inverts don't have feelings. My response to this is I personally think they must do. They have nerves. It's a living thing. So just because if you pull a spider's leg off, you don't hear it squealing, doesn't mean that you're not inflicting pain on that said animal. So I think that's one of the most ridiculous questions I ever get asked. It doesn't have feelings because you can't hold it. No, it doesn't get enjoyment out of being handled, but then you simply don't handle it. Or you handle it for a very brief amount of time if you're showing it to someone, or if you're an ambassador for inverts and things like that. But otherwise, just be sensible with these animals. And if you are thinking of getting a tarantula or going into them, start at beginner species. Don't just go and go out and buy a Postotheria metallica that can be skittish and a bit more defensive. And start small, work your way up, and then before you know it, I'm sure you'll have a big collection like I have. Wow, mine is actually small compared to some people's, but the invert show is next Sunday and I plan on bringing a whole host more back. I also have 2 mystery boxes coming at the end of next week. one arboreal only and one advanced only. So I will be really interested to see what's been put in there. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to ask me any questions, or even to ask me a particular video that you would like to see. If there's anything in my collection that you would really like to have a look at, I am more than happy to show you. Again, I will be super safe and super cautious, as I always am. Thank you for watching.